Hello, we're finally streaming on YouTube and we're also recording and I hope everyone has gotten the link to join in. I've waited a little for everyone to join in. And hello, Tanya. Some have announced that they're going to join us a bit later. Elaine is coming a bit later and some others as well. I hope everyone is doing fine. Yes, I would love to meet the person in Oroville. I would love to also meet her online if she's not, until I can come there, if it's a woman, of course. And yeah, put us in touch. It would be best to to talk before even. I'm looking forward for India to open up. Probably all of us are, but for India to open up, actually, and I'm going to say this because I feel it's necessary. For India to open up, it's time for India to change mentality. Really. I've heard many people from all over the world having a certain perspective on things and how things are and what's the real situation and so on. But in India, most people are still believing in the doom and gloom and what's presented in the news. And it's really necessary that we wake up from that, that we understand that this is not the true reality. This is a false image that others are trying to create in our minds. And as soon as that image dissolves from our minds because it's false, we are able to create another image, maybe an image of freedom, maybe an image of borders opening up, maybe an image of the situation being okay, because we know already that the numbers in press are not true, and so on and so forth. But for that, it requires mind mastery, and to look and to start to orient our attention, focus our attention towards other channels of information than the regular news, mainstream news. They're giving us all that incredible, um, incredible BS. Be decent, BS that many people have believed in the first place. So it's time for us to wake up from that if you want to be free. That's the first step, and that's why many other countries are already opening up borders, while in India, or at least opening up businesses, opening up the doors. We're starting tomorrow in Romania, uh, whilst India is still closed. I know Oroville is very different. I'm very happy to come there, but it's time that India changes. It's time that we open up. It's time that we become, well, we have more discernment. Otherwise, the bigger the population, the bigger the lie, that is developing in that area, and it's not so good. So, okay, this is a wake-up call for India and everywhere, that we stop believing everything we're fed and we start researching and look at the facts. And the pandemic started in both our countries at the same time. Romania and India, they started right at the same time. At the very moment where I caught the last flight from India to Romania on March 15, Romania was opening here quarantine places and so on. So it started at the same time, yet, India doesn't even know when it's gonna, at least start to open. And that's because the reality of the pandemic there has to first dissolve from the minds of the people. We already know that people have been diagnosed with this pandemic, even if they had the flu or lung problems of any other sort. There's been forced diagnosis and so on. We know the truth, right? So let's wake up from this. That's like a parenthesis for today. And we're in the Pranic process online. It's day 8. It's the last day of this process. Hopefully we're going to start a new one, but I have no idea when. I don't know if even we're starting a new one. Just I'm saying that it's possible. If you want to still go through it and you're on Facebook, you can check the link in the description of the video or the link in the comments and join this one, because that's been one of the most powerful that I've done so far. The fact that we've been through this situation globally has helped me focus, has helped us focus much more energy than usual. And it's a powerful pranic process. And even though you haven't been on us with us all of the through all of the webinars, you can still access the recording. They are as powerful, and you can play with them at home and replay and re-listen. And whenever you are uh, willing, a shower of energy or an energy spa, or to enhance your pranic intake, your pranic percentage, you can go through these workshops, and especially the meditations that we do towards the end. They are really, really helping people increase the pranic intake. I am very proud of you as a group, those of you who are on Zoom, very proud that you've completed this process, very proud that you felt called to jump in and that you've listened to your heart. You've been a great team, and I'm happy to have created this corner of paradise online with you. Tonight, I've also posted the paradise songs, the playlist of the paradise songs that I could find, for us to listen. I wish I would found, yeah, well, tell him to contact me and maybe look at my website or whatever if he feels, and then get in touch and tell me if he feels called to discuss what he's discovered and so on. What's his name? Jean Odic? Anyway, just give him my contact and he can get in touch with us. So I see that in Oroville there's a very large community of people from all over the world, as far as I understand. Can you tell us a little bit about Oroville before maybe some others are joining? I want to hear some, because
yeah. So we are about 3,000 people, 1,000 Indians, like from all over India, half locals, half all over India. The rest is, first ranking French, followed by Germans. There are, from all over the world. I think we have like 80 different countries.
Basically, a third of the community is Indians in Oroville, and the rest of the community is from all over the world, and mostly 80 countries from all over the world. That's something, to create such an island of mixture in India. That's something. And hi, Pari, I'm happy that you've joined us on Facebook, and Alexev and the ones who are on Facebook. We're talking about Oroville and the possibility to create an island of peace in the middle of chaos here at Tanya on Zoom. I'm very happy to hear that people from all over the world are joining that place. There's no wonder that so many people from all over the world are joining India. India is such a beautifully imbued with spirituality and such a deep tradition of meditators and people who are really devoted in the heart of hearts to seeking truth. There is, however, the necessity to filter and discern, because with so many gurus and so many meditation teachers and so many legends and so many fantasies and so many sadhus, that some are sadhus and some are not, and so on, I think it can get confusing at some point. So it requires for people to really have a deep depth in their own spiritual search or their own spiritual journey and realization, to be able to tell who's who. So what makes Oroville so special? Why are you still there? Where did you come from in Oroville?
I came from Germany, but
Mhm.
already 13 years ago. So, and I'm there basically because it's the only community with the purpose of human unity of a big size, where really everything is represented. It's not a small scale project, so it's really like everything is there represented, from education to agriculture. Everything is there. I mean, everything you can imagine. So it's really a representation of the world, or
So
a city.
it's basically like a country in a country, you would say, because
Yeah.
I know Oroville is also having their own, they're having their own currency, as far as I remember, or your own way of exchange. I mean, I believe I've heard that, you know, people don't really have to use money, you know, as a currency. They can exchange services, they can exchange goods. Is that true?
Yeah, we are working basically on it. It's true to some extent, but nothing is yet ideal. Everything is in constant work. And
Yes.
since there are so many nationalities together,
Yes.
it slows the process down, but it will make it better in the end, if there's any end.
I don't believe it's an end very
No,
soon.
no,
First of
that
all,
will not.
we have to see the depth of it, and let's talk about communities tonight because it's part of the Pranic journey. You know, they're actually we're giving birth to new communities and new ways of sharing in the world. We're starting to see things differently. We're starting and we're forced to see economy differently because if something falls, something else has to rise instead, because you know, nothing is disappearing, everything is just transforming. So there's new communities coming up, there's new ways of functioning, new ways of exchanging um, goods, services, data, information, and all that. um, I believe in the future, financial exchange is going to be second best, and we're going to exchange in many other ways. Not that I have anything against finances, I actually appreciate the energy of money. I've learned to appreciate it in the hard way. I know not everybody is agreeing with me or supporting this view. I'm talking about the energy of money, not the way they are used in society. So there's a difference in it. But the energy of money can be looked at as the energy of abundance. It goes way beyond physical abundance. You can only have money when you have three things: focus, determination, and health. You know, there's three pillars that can support your abundance. If you master these three pillars, you master the energy of abundance, therefore you have money. If you don't, if any of them is shaking, your energy of abundance is going to, of course, be decreased, and subsequently the financial flow in your life. And that's very important to assess. And there are many people here on the planet now that have come from advanced civilizations, I included, that didn't use or aren't using in that civilization, aren't using financial exchange the way we use it now. And therefore, having come here, they are rejecting money or they have something against it. We have to understand that when we come into a world, into a realm, before changing it or to be able to change it, we have to first master it. We have to be masters at it. You know, if you're not mastering something, you're not able to go into it and transform it. True or not true? So that's why maybe start shifting your position towards financial exchange and start first looking at it as a necessity that has been regulating society for a while until we're becoming more evolved. I have spoken of free energy in one or two webinars ago, and I've just posted on YouTube my opinion about free energy. So we're only going to be able to be free of the money concept and the money exchange where we're going to perceive ourselves as autonomous. And when we're going to master free energy in our bodies, first of all, as prana and pranic intake, and in our society, in devices and in other aspects. And that's when society is going to really change, and probably money is no longer going to be necessary. But we don't have to put the carriage in front of the horse, because if we put the carriage in front of the horse, metaphorically, and we start rejecting a system without having prepared for the new one, chaos is being created. And obviously, this is one of the aspects that we're witnessing now. With new communities that are more evolved spiritually, and they're trying to find a new way. I'm very happy to be part of some of the groups that are working with this. There are groups of friends or acquaintances that I have that are creating new monetary systems, new systems of exchange. They're actually creating, as we speak, an app and a website where they're aiming to collect funds for the needy in India, and create a way of exchange that, where people can actually go and utilize these funds for their well-being if they need it, and they're creating a whole system, including the technical backup, the apps, the websites, everything that has to be functional, to try to cover in some way the difficulty situation that is now India is going through. And not only India, it will probably extend to the rest of the world, because it's not just a local issue. Another group of people, another communities forming a new and is working in forming a new way of sharing on social networks. So they're putting all the networks together, and they're creating a very safe protocol where data is no longer sold or utilized as trade, and people really have safety with their personal data and whatever it is that they're posting, which is very important for our privacy, because nowadays, you no longer have privacy. If you choose to post your family on Facebook, you're already exposed, and all your data on Facebook is being exposed, as you know. And that's important to change as well in the world. If we're aiming towards a pranic consciousness, if we're aiming towards being in harmony with each other and with the world, we have to function harmoniously between each other and with everything, with finances, with data, with everything that is shared between humans, and that's part of the pranic journey, because a lot of many of the aspects that are preventing us from being fully in a flow of prana, fully autonomous, fully harmonious, within ourselves and with each other, is the way energy is circulating between us, the way we're exchanging information, data, services. Everything is meant to change, because before it was based on a game of power, and the more you had, the more power you had, the more you would obstruct others. That was the game, with possessions and even data and information. And now it's going towards a game of love. The more you have, the more you can help others, the more you can contribute, the more you can bring something good in the society. So the only way I've accepted to shift myself from poverty to abundance at some point was the acknowledgement of the fact that being poor doesn't help anyone, nor me, not the others. Like Mother Teresa, who was the best example of volunteering and selfless service, was gathering tons of money, not gathering, but circulating, receiving and transmissioning. Why? Because she had the wisdom and the knowledge that the more she accepts and receives, the more she can help. And I'm at the same point now, give me all and I'll do more, and I'll be able to contribute. Because if you're in a situation where you don't allow the energy to flow, don't allow the energy to come to you. You don't receive, because you want to be a saint and you want to be detached from the world and you want to be, you don't care about money. Well, you don't care about money, but you can't help other people either. uh, so much, not so much. I mean, you can do it at a small scale, but if you need to travel to the end of the globe, like I do many times a year, you won't be able to do it if you don't accept finances and contributions from other people. And that's important to understand that pranic flow comes also with material flow, with abundance flow, and we're only in a flow fully when we accept these things and stop judging. Many people judge each other for abundance and for the way they deal with abundance, and they also judge themselves, on this. And that's also something that's blocking a lot the energy from flowing through us. That's why at the beginning, when I said the energy of money is very beneficial, it's because it's representing, in to some degree, the acknowledgement that you are one with the divine and that you are naturally abundant as being so. Not many people talk about it, especially in spiritual circles. The poorer you are, the more badges you have. Well, it's not true. That's not true, because at some level, due to a judgment, you're blocking something, and that's not in alignment with divinity. That's not an alignment with how uh, the Creator has created us. The Creator would never create its favorite, most beloved beings in an energy of lack. That because if you're made in alignment, if you're made in His image, He couldn't have been in the image of lack or in the energy of lack. The source of creation is always abundant. So you see how many have been fooled with this um, spiritual game, and especially in communities that are spiritual, there's this thing circulating that we must change at some point. And as I was saying, nowadays, the more you have the idea of possessing things and having enough or more than enough is shifting from emotional expression of pranic flow of energy, and I had to bring this up, especially in this pranic process, because it's part of the way prana is meant to flow in this world. I mean, if you came into 3D reality, it doesn't matter if you're a 5D being, it doesn't matter how evolved you are, and so on. If you came into a 3D reality, you must first acknowledge and master its rules. And even if you don't bend to them, you master them and then you go beyond them and you help others go beyond them. But first master them. If you deny them or judge them, you won't be able to encompass and integrate what this reality, this dimension has come to bring you, or why you have chosen to incarnate here. It's very, very important that we fully accept our humanness and the plane that we've incarnated in, to be able to then play with it and create benefits for ourselves and others. Do you have questions so far on Facebook or on Zoom? Is there anything you would like to add or ask? We're discussing here about pranic tools and pranic nourishment, but also pranic living and pranic lifestyle. And we're approaching communities and how they can function differently. So, because many pranic people or many people who change their lifestyle now are also feeling to go live in places that are more abundant, but not necessarily from financial point of view, but from a natural resources point of view. For me, abundance represents something way different than people usually envision when they say that. When you think of abundance, many people think of either palaces or apartments in big buildings or big cars and stuff like this, and the the best place in the center of the city, and many mansions, you know, in many cities, you know, one in New York, one in Los Angeles, and so on. For me, abundance is having access full time at natural resources, to have fresh air all the time, to have nature around me all the time, to be near an energy place that um, to be near an energy place that is constantly fueling your bodies instead of depleting them, which is very rare these days, because most people in cities live near areas that are actually depleting their bodies instead of nourishing them. So to have access to clean water, to have access to land that is not affected by big constructions, because you know, whenever we construct something on a land, whenever we build a highway, or we build big buildings, or a new road, or we change the stream of waters and so on, that land is getting disturbed, you know. That land is getting, you know, you're cutting through the channels of energy of that land. You're cutting through the ley lines of that land. You're putting buildings or constructions in places where they shouldn't be, and that affects the way the energy flows through that land, and that in turn affects you and the people in that area. You know, we must know that. If we knew that, we would be much healthier on this planet, you know. And there's a civilization here on earth called the Kogis, or the Mamos, who are specialists in repairing energetically the areas where the white brothers, they call us, you know, the people with white skin, or other types of nationalities, have built things that are disturbing the land. So they actually go to their land, and with prayers, with energy work, with their own knowledge that, you know, I wouldn't know how to explain, probably is very similar to mine, they're actually shifting and rebalancing the energy of the place as much as they can. Not always they are able to do it fully. That's why they're warning us again and again and again about stopping or disrupting constructions, and stopping the expansions with cutting forests and changing the courses of water and so on. If you want to know more about this civilization, that is an Aboriginal civilization. They're living in the Amazonian forests of a far land, I'm trying to remember now, Colombia. Try and look the documentary called Aluna. I will write the name. It's, oh, sorry. It's a very beautiful documentary that teaches us about community, about different ways of living, and about how we can actually be in harmony with the universal flow and with nature. And for me, that's abundance. That's different than what you know about abundance from the culture that has taught us stuff. You know, to have access to clear, harmonious energy, clear waters, clear land that is not disrupted. Yes. Uh, to have access to all that, that's the true abundance, because that's bringing you health, that's bringing you balance, and that's bringing me, you know, the ability to work and be productive. So the more we build communities on this type of abundance that search for natural balance and living in harmony with the earth instead of disrupting it, the more we benefit from the pranic flow and living in a pranic consciousness, the more we then can thrive as society and as civilization. That's the focus that we're aiming towards now. It's still not too late to recover from the planetary disruption that has been made. There's still time to, and it's happening already, to replant our forests, to clean our waters, and to watch how we're impacting our air and the ozone layers. You know, we can still do it. if we had any doubt that it's possible to be more polite with the planet and let more in an ecological rhythm, and if you thought that you couldn't stop pollution, Gaia has just showed you for 2 months how you are able to stay at home and stop polluting the planet. You've just done the exercise, all of us together, of stopping the pollution for 2 months. It just has been done. It has just been possible. It has taught us to find new ways towards abundance. Some have gone more into the online, into services, into serving others in different ways than they did before. If you haven't already, you probably will, in case your job is not functioning so well. And the universe has just taught us how it is indeed possible that we stop polluting. And I hope that's been a good lesson for humanity, and that we can keep that rhythm of the past 2 months, at least dim it down a little bit, because otherwise it's going to be necessary that we do this exercise again. And that only depends on us. From one point of view, it has been very beneficial for humanity that we stop, because it taught us on how to stop. And it taught us that it's possible to stop, and that it's possible to let this prana, this energy flow in our countries. We wouldn't have believed it, if somebody had told us, you're going to stop and stay at home for 2 months. Nobody um, nobody would have believed that if somebody had told us. But since we did the exercise, forcefully, now we can believe it, and we were shown how we are able to stop and what we can do in the stopping time. We hope that as countries and borders are being open now, we keep that lesson in our minds, and we continue with this um, more peaceful way of stepping onto the surface of Gaia, and that we can pay more attention at the way the energy is flowing on this planet and between us, and that we subsequently build communities that are in harmony with these natural rhythms, and build constructions that are helping planet instead of destructing it. Like in advanced civilization, Tanya, if you asked, the constructions are similar to the pyramids. They're actually helping to harness and distribute energy on the planet instead of blocking it, which is a much different way than the usual way we're building here. And many other things are done in the same fashion to be in harmony and help energy flow instead of disrupting or blocking it. And everything that's being constructed or built or brought on the planet is following that guidance of being in harmony with the land, being in harmony with the flow of energy, being in harmony with nature, and not harming anything around. And the deep knowledge of how that is possible is 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 starting to come to us as well. And if we look at the Aboriginous cultures, you can of course learn from them how to do that. And if we look at ancient civilizations as well, the constructions that they had uh, on the planet that they built, like for example the pyramids and certain temples, we can have examples of how this is possible. And how is feasible for us as well. So those of you who are building communities out there or living in communities, just make sure, if you want your community to function, make sure that you build it in accordance and in harmony with the natural flows and the natural laws. Otherwise, it's guaranteed that at this moment of evolution in humanity, that community is not going to last too long, because now we're only supported on this planet, and from now on, as a rule, we're only being supported on this planet with our endeavors and our um, actions, if that is flowing in accordance with the universal flow. If it's going against the universal flow, the energy now on the planet is so strong that it's going to, basically be dissolved soon. Whatever it is that people are doing that is not in harmony, it's going to be just dissolved. And if you are aiming to start something that's not in harmony and you're seeing that it's not functioning, don't insist because it's not going to work. And that's how to be in harmony with the pranic flow, with pranic consciousness, with pranic living. And that's also helping our bodies, last but not least, it's also helping our bodies function better and open more, our channels of energy to the pranic flow. The more the planet is healthy, the more our bodies are healthy and open. We're in direct communion and communication with the planetary body, with the body of Gaia. Everything that happens to Gaia eventually happens to us. All the disease on the planet, the dis-ease and the disease, the illness, is the end result and the mirror of what we do to Gaia. Whatever happens to to her body is eventually going to happen to our body, because we are connected energetically and through the elements, the natural elements. I mean, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and so on. We're directly connected to this body of land that is called Gaia, and to the spirit that is governing it. So this is an invitation to consciousness for all that are watching. And on Facebook, this live is ending now, and you can check the link on the comments to be with us till the end of the webinar and to follow the whole program at home in recording. It's 8 meetings that we've had so far. And if you want to be with us tonight, just let us know, and I'm going to just add you on Zoom. Big hugs to all, and see you next time, whenever that is. To not forget, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Romania time, 7 p.m. Bucharest time, we start a really powerful class about intimacy, prana, and kundalini. How to work harmoniously in couples, how to work harmoniously within yourself, with your inner energy, without allowing it to get blocked or disturbed. How to share intimacy with another person. And by that, I don't just mean physical intimacy. I just mean into me see, letting yourself be seen by another in a very intimate, profound way. That is, the true sharing between other beings, now we are hiding too much on earth, and we're still trying to create false images of ourselves, because telepathy is not fully functioning. But there will come a time not far from now when our people are going to be highly empathic and telepathic. Most of us already are. When you're feeling something is off, when you're feeling certain resistance in your body, when you're feeling something is not okay, is because you're actually feeling the energy field of another person, and you're feeling that something's not okay with them while you speak. And that's become bringing more and more transparency to our relationships. Therefore, intimacy is learning how to be fully transparent in all your vulnerabilities, without hiding, without pretending, and communicating from that space, and communing from that space with others. And that's the real true pranic consciousness, pranic flow. And of course, we're going to share also about the physical body and the sacred sexuality and so on. But the highest part of the sharing is about consciousness and really communication to a much deeper level, soul to soul, and to learn how to master our relationships, not only with a partner, but with our whole community, with our dear ones and so on, in a way that is bringing and adding energy to them instead of detracting energy from them and from yourself as well. So it's going to be a really powerful class. It's the cherry on the cake after this pranic process. And I hope all of you who are seeing it on my Facebook page or on the group that you've been in are able to join, because it might be one of the last editions in this summer. As far as I know, after this, I'm going to start to run around a little bit just because everything is opening now. So big hugs on Facebook. Look at the website soulhealingacademy.com at the events section to join this class and the Pranic process online and be with us. Okay, and yes, about other civilizations, it's so much to say that I don't even know when and how to begin. The important thing is to know that most of them are harnessing energy in a free way, and they're able to therefore have full autonomy. You know, they don't depend on they have gravity control. They don't depend on gravity. They don't depend on foods the way we do, and they have a total different way of seeing relationships and communities. If we look at communities here, we see that on this planet, we are basically building communities for profit. The target of a community is to make profit. And normally the target, if you look at countries and the way they function, or even cities, but countries mostly, is to make profit in detriment of others. The richest is the richest is the coolest, the richest has the utmost power, and it's sovereign upon others and is telling others what to do and so on. This is not ever the aim in advanced civilizations. They're building communities for the sake of collaboration and evolution. And not only they collaborate and evolve very well between each other, but they're intergalactically sharing with other communities, with other civilizations in a way that's beneficial. The policy of free sharing that some of us are trying to install here, that some of us are remembering or trying to function by, is coming from advanced civilizations that are working with this policy, which means whatever resources or information you have is to be shared with others freely for their benefit and evolution as well, without concealing everything for the purpose of you having more power. That's free sharing in advanced civilizations. That's how we function over there, which is very different or opposite even than what we have here. That's why there prana is flowing freely, whilst here is being held back, and nobody benefits from it. Not even the most powerful is benefiting from it, because they're only rich in material. They cannot be rich at the energy level. That's why there's a constant fight for energy. The ultimate fight on this planet is not for money, not for oil, not for such things that are, you know, merely trifles, you know, not important, as compared to energy and power. So that was the highest game on this planet, and now it's changing towards a game of love. Now the richest is the most loving one, and it's going to be like this from now on. You know, the richest is the most loving one, because the most loving one has the most compassion and most balance, and is able to harness energy harmoniously, and therefore is infinitely rich. You know, infinitely rich means to never be hungry, to never be ungrateful, to never be in a place of discontentment, to always be happy. That's the ultimate richness, you know, and that's the richness that comes from a place of love. So that's the next level on this planet, you know, of abundance and contribution, is just to be and stay in a place of love, and from that place, you know, whatever else just flows. I wouldn't be going into conspiracy theories about negative species. I don't give an inch of energy to that, and I advise all of you to master your minds and not go into that area unless you want to make contact and see how it is. You know, it's a way to play also. But remember that what you focus on will grow, and maybe choose wisely what you focus on. I don't believe in anything but love. That's my answer to all questions. how am I sure that from now on it will change already? Because there's certain gateways of love, certain portals of energy that hasn't been opened for thousands of years that have opened now and are allowing the energy to flow on that planet, on this planet. And therefore, nothing but love will ultimately remain. Therefore, but we mustn't imagine that it's, you know, changing in a blink of an eye. It could change in a blink of an eye, but my guess is that it will settle, you know, in its own pace. It's in its own pace, in an organic way rather than a disruptive way, you know. It's the same as if you do a harsh detox or a mild detox, you know. If you do a harsh detox, you might get pimples all over your body or rashes or things like this. And not necessarily, yes, it goes quickly, but not necessarily you're going to be okay. And if it's a mild detox, then slowly, slowly your body adapts to the new frequencies. My guess is that now the harsh detox has ceased or is ceasing, you know, with the pandemic and all. And we're going into the mild detox where this love frequency is going to be slowly, slowly being imbued into the ones who are chosen, have chosen to stay on the planet. Some of them have been filtered out, as we've seen, you know, they're no longer here. And the others who have chosen to stay, you know, they might get the mild detox now, or the mild infusion or installment of this frequency of love that has been open for the planet for at least 2000 years since the Christed one has come. And he has told us, you know, be in your hearts, follow your truth, your light, stay in your heart, stay centered, stay in love. The cross is not something that he was slayed upon. It's something that represents uniting all directions into the heart. That's what the true symbol of the cross is, coming back above and below, left and right, back into the heart. That's what it represents. That's the symbol that has been given to us for 2000 years. Nobody has got it. They all think it's about the sacrifice and about pain and about sorrow and about death, and they have given the worst of the worst of the meanings to it when it really truly signified love. You know, and centering in the heart. And if you look at the cross in that way, you see completely different view of it, and it's important that we see that. So changing our mindset about what's going on, keeping ourselves informed about all this, staying open to new possibilities that are much, much better, and they are possible, much, much better than the ones we've experienced before. That would be the first step towards a constant pranic flow into our lives. Practicing daily, it's also very important. Going lighter in your diet, but being mindful about what your pranic percentage is at all times is also very, very important. Actually, what we can do is let's measure our pranic percentage before and after the meditation. That's also working for the group that's watching online, that's watching the recording later. Let's measure that and see the difference between how your percentage is before and how it is after, if there's any difference. If there's not, then you're in a constant pranic flow. But let's see, just somebody's coming in. So what we can do is start following our breath. I believe Elaine is preparing to come in as well. Start following your breath and slowly, slowly start tuning into your hearts. Imagine that through your heart chakra, you have a nose that is constantly breathing in. And you're constantly breathing in through your heart chakra, which is in the center of your chest. We imagine that we're in a column of light from the center of the universe to the center of the earth, a column of light or of energy with a diameter like your hand stretched out that is filtering anything that doesn't serve us. And we ask that only the beings of the purest light and love can be present energetically and telepathically with us now. Only the beings of the purest light and love can be present energetically and telepathically with us now. Only the beings of the purest light and love can be present energetically and telepathically with us now. And starting to breathe in through your heart, we now start to measure how much prana is actually flowing through your bodies using the breath test. So to remind you all, the breath test is when you center with your breath into your heart, start following your breath deeper, and you make an affirmation that you know, when you make an affirmation that is true, your breath will flow lighter and your body would relax. And when you make an affirmation that is false, your body or breath will contract. And that's the difference between yes and no in the breath test. That's how you can know when something is true and something is false, while making the affirmation and following your breath. And as you follow your breath, you start affirming. My pranic percentage now is 50%. My bodies are nourished by prana in a proportion of 50%. And as you affirm that in your mind, just like a mantra, silently speaking inwardly, you just watch what your breath does. If your breath is flowing freely into your body without any obstruction and interruption, it means that this is true. And indeed, your pranic percentage is at least 50%. If your breath is not flowing freely and you have any chunking, any blockage in your breath flow, it means that your pranic percentage is less than 50%. We advise you that you check later how much it is. You can check for 40% with the same way of affirming and following your breath. Affirm 40%, affirm 30% until you get the right percentage. If your percentage is less than 50%, the rest of the percentage, either 60% or 70%, how much you need, you can take food instead of prana. And start exercising and practicing and having a lifestyle that is encouraging you to increase this pranic percentage. So we're still following our breath, we're still centered in our hearts, and if we got a yes to 50%, we make the affirmation, my pranic percentage now is 60%. My bodies are nourished by prana in a proportion of 50%, 60%. Another deeper breath in. And if you got a yes on the relaxed breath to 60%, you increase. If you got a no and the breath was constricted, then 40% at least you need to eat daily. 40% of the food you had before, you need to still eat it. The rest you can drop it because you're 60% nourished by prana. You can therefore reduce your food intake to 40% of what it was. if you're still taking solid food. So we make the next affirmation. If you were at 60% already, we make the affirmation of my bodies are nourished by prana in a percentage of 70%. My body is nourished by prana. My pranic percentage is 70%. Check with your breath, stay with your breath. Don't drift away into your mind, let the thoughts dissolve like clouds above your head. If you got a relaxed flow in your breath and the relaxed body, increase and affirm. My bodies are nourished by prana in a percentage of 80%. See what your breath does. Is it flowing relaxed? Is it contracting anywhere? Maybe with the contraction, the body is actually showing you where it's not flowing, the prana. Then a deeper breath in, and you go to next 90%. If you got 80%, yes. If you got a no, you can of course stop. You know that 20% you still need to take food. If you got a yes to 80, you go to 90. And affirm, my body is nourished by prana in a proportion of 90%. And of course, if you have a contraction to this, then 10% you at least need to take some physical food. If you got complete relaxation with the breath and the flow, you go and affirm, my body is being nourished by prana in a proportion of 100%. My pranic percentage is now 100%. So now, having gone through all the stages of the percentages, we can know where we are and what we need to add. If you got, like I said, 80% prana, you take 20% food. Those of you who haven't been on a pranic journey, you've just started, you now know that you can actually decrease your percentage of food by at least 50 or 60%. You know, if you got 60% from prana, clearly you don't need 60% of your food, you don't need it. You can go and eat much less or much lighter food. You can go directly to veganism or encompass more juices into your diet instead of solid food. Maybe twice a day you make juices or smoothies, and once a day you take solid food. And that's already decreasing your percentage. For those of you who aren't necessarily in a pranic journey for a long time, right? You know now, due to your percentage, how much you can diminish your food intake and that you actually don't need it so much. That's a good thing with pranic, breath test measuring. Another good thing is for those of you who aren't eating because you think you are pranic, you are now able to assess how much you really are and to not deplete yourself. If 20% you need to nourish by food, you should take that food. Otherwise, your body is going to suffer. Until you are at 100% and you're maintaining yourself there, you do not cut off your physical food or supplements or, you know, smoothies or whatever, because that's going to deplete your body and you're going to have serious problems, including energetically, not just physically. How to maintain and increase the pranic percentage is basically what we've talked about all the way through this process. Meditation daily. daily connection with the universe, one way or another, either through prayer or through the breath test, which is asking and receiving constantly information from universe, or with devotion towards a specific deity, if you have a certain one that you are, you know, in devotion to, with, or and just connect to something bigger than your mind. That's the only important thing. And keep your connection. Mind mastery, also observe and question your thoughts, is very, very important as a way to rebalance your pranic flow. You know, when you have bad thoughts, when you go in areas that are not nourishing or beneficial, just jump out into a more beneficial thought, and that's going to nourish your system, right? Because your mind body is consuming a lot of energy. If you point that energy into a direction that you don't want to nourish, you're going to get more of that, and you're not going to get so good at pranic nourishment. So mind mastery, lightening up your diet, constantly measure your pranic percentage and try to bring lighter and healthier food in your on your table, to the point where you're fully lighter, you know, but just know that it's a process, and in the meantime, just refine what you put in your system. Lighter and lighter and lighter food, healthier, no sugars, no flours. This type of stuff is blocking your pranic flow. Take care, you know. Treating your body like it's the temple of the divine, you know, not sharing it with others randomly, not taking it to places that are totally uncomfortable for it, where the energy is disruptive and noisy and bad for your body. Don't go there, you know. Try to use clothing that's natural and organic, and that's allowing prana to flow, because if you use too much plastics or synthetics, that's actually blocking, is not a conductor for energy. Try to use cosmetics, or the things that you apply on your skin should be the things that you would be able to eat, because your skin is absorbing everything directly into your blood. That's why when you treat your body like a temple, you put only the things that are beneficial for your body and for your overall being. Whatever you wouldn't swallow, don't put on your skin, because it goes directly, it goes in your blood quicker than if you would swallow it. So be mindful of that. Yeah, treat your body like a temple. Practice, exercise, do yoga, do qigong, move it around, dance, walk, take some jogging. This type of stuff is enhancing your pranic flow. They were just saying last night in a scientific gathering with the Resonance Academy that your body produces your body weight in ATP, which is the very thing that nourishes your cells, your body weight in ATP when you do a marathon, so when you run. So far, I haven't able to run much, so I cannot recommend much of that from my own experience, but I do know colleagues like Gaston Bacchiani, who are winning gold medals at triathlons with just orange juice, which means that their bodies is taking energy from someplace else while they are doing so much physical activity. Tell me what to explain, because I don't know. What is that thing that you want me to explain?
I didn't get the part about the running that you just tried to mention.
Yes, I was saying that I don't run that much. I actually don't run, very rarely, but they were saying that the body is producing very much ATP, which is the energy that nourishes our cells, while we do sports. In a marathon, they say it can produce the equal weight of your entire body in ATP. If you were to weight ATP, it would have the same weight as your body. It's a research, you know, but just to know that you're producing a lot of energy when you exercise. That's the main thing, you know. So treating your body like a temple. Another thing that to include in the lifestyle, and I'm just summing it up as the last call of this program, is include more selfless service. Do things for others just because you can, but do them with discernment. Your selfless service, your volunteering, your actions towards the world should be balanced with, between giving and receiving. And to do selfless service in a mastery way is also a key to getting balance. Spend time in silence. Rest this chakra. This is where you receive your energy into your body. Help it rest. Shut up as much as you can. And take at least one day in silence to really rest your voice. Or multiple halves of days during the week if you can't take a full day, but everybody I think can, especially now. And spend time in nature, which is the best source of fine-tunement. It fine-tunes your bodies, it gets you more into connection with the universe, it releases the positive ions that you accumulate from electronics, that are disrupting your body. Spend time in nature daily. And last but not least, watch and pay attention to the music that you're listening to and the sounds and words that you're listening to. Make sure you listen to sacred music, to music that is tuned into the old pitch of 432. Make sure you listen healthy pitch music so that you can be in balance. And whenever you're imbalanced, try to work with sounds and mantras in addition to other practices, and see how fast and quick they are operating. So these are the 8 steps to practice at home daily for your pranic flow, for your pranic intake. It's not just taking a process, it's daily practice that to some extent you can include in your daily life. You don't have to do it aside from your daily tasks. You can always listen to music when you do your things around the house. You can always be mindful of your thoughts in any minute. You can always meditate when you shut up. You can always shut up when there's nothing to say and practice silence, instead of engaging in conversations that are completely useless. You can always, serve others if you feel to, or refrain from serving if you feel they are not welcoming your service. That's also important. You don't push yourself into people. All these things, you can include movement in the morning while you brush your teeth. You can move your legs and your hips at the same time, to declutter your energy. That's what I do, and so on. You can include almost anything in your other activities so that you don't have the excuse that you don't have time, actually. And as you practice these 8 things, that, as I said at the beginning, they have been recommended by the Ascended Masters. As you practice them, you will have a increased pranic flow during your days, and in an organic way, you will develop this state constantly. And even if you would choose to eat, your hunger will still be either diminished or disappeared, which is the most important thing. So the most important thing is not to stop eating, is to not have hunger of any kind, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to be autonomous. That's the only thing that matters. The rest is just fun. You can play with anything. If you get to that state, you're autonomous, you can play with stuff. So back to the meditation now that we're completing. You came right on time, Elaine. You can, wait, exactly. You can take a quick moment to measure your pranic percentage if you want. We did that just before you tuned in. We went with this idea that we would measure the pranic percentage before and after the meditation. So just to see how it changes, if it does. So maybe try and do a few breaths and see what your pranic percentage is. Check maybe for after 60% or from 70% up, see if it's higher than 70%, and then we see after the meditation. So to do this, you focus in your heart. Imagine that your heart has a nose that you breathe through. You're in a column of light from the center of the universe to the center of the earth. And just make the affirmation, my pranic percentage is 70%. And see what your breath does. If it doesn't go well, drop to 60 or 50 and check. If it's beyond 70, increase to 80, increase to 90 until you get it. And see how it is. And while she does this, we invited the other ones to center back into your hearts. Start breathing through your hearts. I'm going to take a moment and come back to you while you breathe. And as you breathe through your hearts, see and feel that you're in a light column from the center of the universe to the center of the earth. That you're breathing light from this light column into all your structures, through all your pores. See how your body has become a big breathing organism that's bringing in more light with every breath. As you breathe in, you're bringing more of this light, of this energy through all of your pores into your bodies. As you breathe out the worries, the tensions, the concerns, everything that doesn't serve you, everything that's not beneficial for you. You just let it out into this column of light. Breathing in again. See how this energy is starting to flow through every pore of your skin into your physical structure, into your body. And breathing out, you're releasing the thought forms, the worries, the concerns, everything that is not beneficial for you, everything that's not serving you, only allowing the light to come in. Deep breath in. You imagine that you have a connection cable from the center of the universe that comes down into the crown chakra and the top of your head, and down from the top of your head into your heart. See and feel how this cable is connecting into your heart chakra, right from the heart of the universe, right from the heart of God, if you will, the heart of the central sun, right into your heart. And see your heart chakra opening up like a lotus flower, receiving this cable of connection that is fueling your heart chakra now. Deeper breath in. Feel how this energy is flowing into your body. From your heart, as you exhale, it flows into the internal organs, into all your physical systems, the endocrine system, the chakra system, the circulatory system, the nervous system, the lymph system, the bone system, the muscular system, the blood, the lymph, and your skin system all the way through you. This light that comes down from the central sun down into the center of your heart is now flowing out into your cells. Then out into the auric field and out into the universe. Bring more light in. Let it flow towards the lower chakras as well. See it flowing into your perineum, into your feet, and from your feet building roots towards the center of the earth and flowing towards the heart of Gaia. And you're now connecting with the heart of Gaia. And see, feel, or touch the frequency of Gaia, which is the same or similar like your human heart. And see how the heart of Gaia responds by shooting in this rays of light, love, through your roots, through the soles of the feet, and ankles, calves, knees, thighs, to the base of your spine. And as it fills your body all the way up to the top of your head, through the spine, when it reaches the top of your head, having filled your whole body with the energy from the center of the earth, it springs out like a fountain, like a toroidal system in a spherical shape around your body, around your auric field. And it's creating a bioshield, a biofilter that keeps out the radiations, Wi-Fi, thought forms that don't serve you, energies that are not beneficial for you. Everything is kept out from this light bubble with the energy that comes down from comes up from the center of the earth. So you're still in a sphere of light with the energy that comes up from the center of the earth, and you're in a column of light with the energy that comes down from the center of the universe. And you're both in these mixtures of yin-yang energies that are mixing into your heart and then streaming through your cells, through your organs, into your auric field and out into the universe. The perfect masculine feminine energy dance in your heart that you're transmissioning to the whole universe now. You're still focused in your heart. You're still in a column of light from the center of the universe to the center of the earth. And with this centering inside your heart, we now make again the affirmation. My pranic percentage is, and we start from 60%. If you get a relaxed flow into your body with your breath, you make the affirmation. My pranic percentage is now 70%. So notice how your body flows. And then go to 80%, saying my body pranic percentage is 80%. I am nourished by prana in a proportion of 80%. Then my body prana percentage is 90%. My pranic percentage is now 100%. Choose to ask that as well. My pranic percentage is now 100%. So if you got a yes to one of the percentages that we've shared, that's your pranic percentage at the moment. That's how much prana you are actually encompassing in your body, circulating in your body for your nourishment now. And the rest, the percentage that you didn't get, like for example, if you are at 60%, as I was saying, you can take 40% of your previous food and eat it, because 60% you're already nourished by prana. Did you notice any difference between the before and the after? We did the breath test before and the breath test after for pranic percentage, just to see if there's any difference or increase with the meditation. Did you see any difference in your percentage? Yes, Elaine? Because yes, as we were saying yesterday, you were in a high percentage after the meditation. We have to also see what the percentage is before. So if you can tell us, I'd be happy to hear.
It was 87% before the meditation, and then it was 100% after the meditation.
That's cool. You can take just 13%, 13% physical food of any sort, at least today. If you check tomorrow, yes, if you check tomorrow, it might be less food, more prana, or the other way around. Anyone else wants to share? Good. So then we have officially graduated together the Pranic process online stage 3 of this 2 months. I congratulate you all. I am honoring your souls for having participating, and I'm very proud of you that you have been here. I am inviting you to consider participating tomorrow at the Prana Intimacy and Kundalini class, which is always something I do at the end of a festival or a process or something else. After we've cleaned our closets quite well, let's get to the base and see what's happening there with our relationships, with our intimacy, with our sexuality. That's the next step to encompass more prana. And we don't go directly into that because that's a whole different story to talk about, and it takes quite a few hours to cover it. So we're covering it tomorrow in another class. Those of you who want to be with us, and many blockages on the pranic flow can come from that area of the way we communicate, the way we relate, the way we look at our bodies and our intimacy, and all that is really, really challenging to assess it. So see you tomorrow. Those of you who decided to join, you know, Elaine and Erica and whoever said yes to this. There's others from the previous classes as well. And those of you who haven't decided yet, just feel into your heart and let me know tonight or tomorrow what you feel. Blessings to all. It's been fun and pleasant being with you, and I'm happy that we've been together for 8 days. If you need further assistance with anything else, just let me know and write to me. Yes, Tanya, do you want to say anything?
I just want to say thank you before you switch off.
Very grateful that you came, and looking forward to also meet you in person, and of course visit Auroville and come there to India as soon as possible. And thank you, Marta, for joining us. I don't really know your face at the moment, but I'm happy to see that you're online. Maybe you want to bring your camera on, if you will, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, I'm just sending you big hugs and much love, and see you some other time. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. If you will. Bye.